And welcome to the Nemesis 1v1, the 1v1 where you don't even pick your own champion. The rules are simple. You get 3 bans, and the enemy opponent is picking your champion, your runes, and your summoner spells. When that happens, they're swapping PCs, and they're playing ARAM. You may now open Champ Select, start the game.
All right.
Here comes the situation where you can now pick the champion for your opponent. You can make the runes, and you can make the summoner spells.
This is the worst rule page ever.
Is it Guardian?
You don't know anything.
Okay.
I'll give you a good
Thank
champ.
you for telling me this.
I'm not trolling you, I'm giving you a good champ.
Okay, you're that confident? Okay, I'm going with this one.
Okay.
Hands down.
If you are happy with what you have given your opponent, you may now swap PC. So, Advienne, please move over. Szygenda?
Okay, I'll give him some AP.
Are you giving me AP? Are you giving me first
try?
try?
First try yet. Okay, what?
What you get? What? I give you move speed and you give me troll setup? Yo, when is the snowball coming, little bro?
Yeah, I'm looking for you.
So,
okay, my first strike is frying.
Boom. Okay, this is easy.
I gave you a king 1v1 champ, by the way.
I was gonna say, how happy are you with your decision so far?
It's really tough.
Yeah. You can really only thank yourself for that.
I can just heal here.
It's a stacked up wave.
Yo, you need to do like
wait, I can't
animation every time you eat a minion.
IRL, I need to do
Of course, otherwise you're cheating. That's like the whole point of Nunu.
I'll consider it.
Okay, first strike.
Actually, this is
I'm up good on the first strike.
He's just taking a few tower shots here. He's really helping you out.
Oh, and drop aggro.
Okay, auto space guard. Okay,
Yeah,
are you ready for this combo?
I am ready.
Into
Oh no, but I just pressed
fire.
Q.
Wow, I lost the blade, by the way.
And that's the absolute zero from
Oh, okay, I thought I could time.
Oh. And nothing happened.
Damn, that did absolutely zero damage.
But your room. Oh wait, how did you get all your mana back?
What a clarity.
I forgot about that.
Auto space in mini match.
Oh, yeah. It's okay. I think I'm so out-farmed already, it's kinda...
Can you be honest with me for a second? Was the reason you played played Nunu for him just so you can make sound effects?
Yeah. How well do you know this guy?
Are you doing ulti in the bush? Okay. Damn, the Everfrost, okay, you know?
Yeah, of course.
Everfrost
first strike. That's how the top laners play these days.
2k gold in my pocket. I'm basing soon.
No.
Damn, the wave clear from static ship is broke.
Oh no. He's gonna take my tower. Oh wait, it's actually coming. The fire.
Plates out. Boom, first tower.
Okay. Wait. Did I lose?
And apparently that was the first game for Szygenda for the first tower. What an amazing battle
I thought I would
here in our first 1v1 Nemesis we've ever seen at the LEC. Absolute amazing game.
Yo.
You may now pick your champions, gentlemen.
Okay.
Get into it. For Advienne, a time to tie it. For Szygenda, a time to seal the deal.
Okay, I'm gonna give you another fun champ.
I already picked the worst one. I don't know what's next. I'm still cooking a little bit.
You're still cooking a little bit
I have
over here.
cooked, in fact.
Can you tell me what the thought process has been with Milio?
Yeah, I don't know. I play this champ so much and I feel so useless when I don't have a teammate, and he will not have a teammate this game, so...
Watch me.
Well, so as you are... No! Get back to the PC, because as you are getting into the game...
We're playing this champ instead!
No! You are exactly playing that champion instead, Szygenda! As I said, we were only playing once! Nemesis 1v1, I said we were playing 2 games.
Damn.
But I did not tell you what the second game was going to be.
Oh, this was my best cook as well.
So you have now locked in a champion for yourself. So Advienne, now that you are playing that Milio, how confident are you with your rune setup?
Yeah, I'm very confident in the consequences of my own actions.
That is exactly what we had. What rune page do you have?
I have Glacial on Milio, so...
Well, that can still be procced.
That is exactly why I took
with
it.
this movement...
Oh, but I have lane pressure.
And Szygenda, he locked in the Singed. Was it the Hail of Blade Singed after all?
Yeah, it's pretty good for now.
Yeah.
I only... Look at this.
Oh!
He's got the snowball strat. He's got the cleanse that doesn't actually work because you're still in the slow field. He's under the tower. Oh my god!
Lag.
Oh no!
And that has got to be The worst 1v1 I have ever seen in my entire life at the LEC. Szygenda's most played champion desinged, and he's showing why. Now, Advienne, congratulations.
Thank you.
On that victory. If you guys would like to see a final matchup between our two players, make sure to tag LEC or whatever it is. But for now, thank you very much for playing, and let's look forward to seeing these guys playing an actual game of League of Legends.
Oh, man.
Why did we only play 2?
Why?
I don't know who the winner is.
Dagda! Hold on. Berlin and everybody watching at home. Why did they play a best of 2? Because everybody knows Europe loves their ties. I didn't even get a chuckle. Look, I won boo. Okay, I'll take that. I'll take that. That genuinely was one of the worst 1v1s I've ever seen. Even GB just stood there at one point holding Q cards like, why did I agree to this?
What is my life? How did I get here?
Welcome back, PGs and NBs. We're about to jump into KOI taking on SK Gaming. It is the penultimate game of week 2 here, as both KOI and SK are looking to get themselves into the group stage. I think both teams have had better times. Both teams struggling a little bit. I think more so on the SK camp, but let's be frank. Expectations versus performance for KOI definitely not meeting what the organization wants or what the fans are hoping for.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a big test for both these sides to see who can try and come out on top. I think, as you say, for KOI, a lot of it has been a lackluster performance in the early game, not really getting up to entirely much. And it's kind of been a similar performance for SK as well. Even when they got leads yesterday, say against G2, but being unable to capitalize on that has really started to hurt them. I think a lot of it has come down to like the bot lane not quite working out in their favor, but also then when they do get these leads, it feels like the bot lane early wants to throw themselves in to show they can be the big carries, and then that comes back to bite them as well. So I think this is going to be one where it's like both these sides kind of wanting to prove that they can end their week on a hot spot.
Let's talk a little bit about KOI's game yesterday against Heretics as well, a game that also had a lot of back and forth, some question marks, but ultimately KOI coming out on top. Maybe a little bit of confidence there on their side. I mean, both teams had things that you could be happy with, and also things that you definitely will be VoD reviewing in the week to come.
Yeah, I think that's the big one. I want to see exactly if KOI can at least pick up the win here again once more. And also then, how can they try and continue? So then, because one of the big things that we've seen a lot from KOI is, look, they want to try and overload one portion of the map where it's like, we'll get control, immediately dive onto someone and try and snowball that lead. But against SK, we'll have to see if they can try and keep that one up.
Well, right now, the SK fan chant slowly building momentum. I see you. I hear you. Let's jump in a draft for KOI versus SK. And I'm sure we'll be greeted by the familiar chorus in picks and bans. KOI are on the blue side. I think when we do take a look at the course of the summer season thus far, Lulu, Yuumi, Milio, and one game of Leona for Advienne. Saw Advienne in that little 1v1 matchup against Szygenda. I'm interested to see what he'll get his hands on. I'm hopeful from one of those engaged supports, but right now it is Advienne, the Azira moved, so supports and ADs still up and available.
Yeah, it's kind of been a mixed bag here for Advienne in the bot side. Like, one of the lowest skill participation supports we have in the league right now. Hasn't quite been able to find his footing. It doesn't feel like the meta kind of suits him either. We know that there's going to be big changes coming in the next couple of patches, so definitely someone who will come alive in a bit more time, but we'll have to see as we start to get into this.
And of course, we are on 13-11 this week and next week. All of the regular season here in the LEC will be 13-11. We'll move to 13-13 for the group stage. And the best ofs, Nico has been removed. Zaya, the last ban from KOI. So Milio or Yuumi, you would assume for SK, or leave them both open and get one.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the question, is which one is it going to be, but I feel like you get rid of the Yuumi, give Milio across. You know that Advienne is kind of more tending towards the engaged supports, and I think if you kind of leave that to the bottom side, maybe you're going to be happy. We actually haven't seen Milio left off through very often, whereas it has been Yuumi more often, so maybe that'll be the case, but maybe the Maokai. So it looks like they'd be happy to take one of them, but now the question is, what one do you prefer? Personally, I just prefer the Milio. I think he gives you so many more options. Like, he can pair well with things like the Lucian if you want to go for early game. He can pair with like Aphelios and Jinx and all that. The only one that it doesn't really work with is going to be something like the Zeri, but it looks like KOI are going to say, hey, look, we're just going to take the Aphelios instead. That's the one we're more interested in. We're happy to pair the Cat or the Flames with them instead.
How many games of Aphelios has Comp played all year, Dagda? The answer is 2. Neither of them are victories. The reason that I do like to highlight that is when you see a player who has tended towards the Zeri 10 games, he's actually got Sivir 6, Lucian 6. Obviously, the Aphelios is not the highest priority thus far. No matter right now, however, he's locked it in. We want to turn that one around. And you mentioned you prefer the Milio over the Yuumi as far as the support pool goes. I also think in the hands of DOS, I do also like this a little bit more. It'll be his second game on the champion. Markoon will be securing that Sejuani.
Yeah, it looks like the Yuumi then will be taken on the opposite side. The big question mark is what does Exakick want to take in response to the Aphelios? Because, as I've said, we've seen things that are like the Lucian Milio coming in as a combo if you want to go for that early aggression. We've seen it go for some of the later scale pairing. I personally think the Jinx is a little bit underrated in this in the LEC at the moment. I really like her with the Milio because the range is absolutely obnoxious to deal with. The speed ups help her position correctly in fights as well. And up against the Aphelios, you're able to just match that scaling. And even with the K'Sante, you got great damage for this K'Sante in the top
And
side.
I really think Jinx is great at stealing Barons as well. It's something that can happen. The AoE on...
I don't see it happening anytime soon.
It's possible. Look, you don't even need to hit the Baron itself, just the AoE from the rockets. It can do it. I'm telling you, it's possible.
But it's solo splash.
Exakick and SK agree. Look, they've locked it in. You've peered into your crystal ball and nailed the Dagda. So phase 2, what do you want to see banned? Because we've both got the jungle pool available for banning, and SK have done that already, removing Jarvan from Malrang.
Yeah, and I think it's a good shout. Just trying to prevent anything that can easily get these fights started. So Jarvan going to be taken off the board. The Maokai's already gone. I think maybe Wukong will probably be another ban as well. Although I think one of the things we've seen from Malrang pretty consistently is that, at least in 2 or 3 of the games, he wants to try and go for these early invades. Could try and go for, hey, I'm going to clear like one camp and then look for it. I'm kind of surprised to see the Poppy taken away, to be perfectly honest. I think SK would actually be kind of happy with that because they've got the further range. Like, he can even take the Azir now for Sertuss on this next rotation. You can play for the late game scaling, make it really difficult for to KOI, like basically do what G2 did, right?
Yeah.
Although we have seen the Kai'Sa start to creep up with the static shift. Also, Varus, I think, is someone that's we're probably going to see a little bit more of as well as we start to move through these games.
The thing is, for me, if you do opt into the likes of that Azir, what I then want to see from SK is that control, that calm gameplay. I think part of the reason G2 pulled it off, there were some Redditors that were calling the previous game boring, and I can understand why, but I think you do have to respect and appreciate just how G2 played that game. Despite conceding kills, they were not behind in gold. They didn't give up. You know, when there was lane pressure, what's the word I'm looking for? When you make moves on the opposite side of the map. On the opposite side of the map. Anyways, cross maps. My word, they didn't concede any cross maps. You know, they played that well. So I want to see that from SK. They've got the Jax, can play the side lane. It'll be Tristana and Gragas to round out KOI's comp. Dagda, please save me.
Yeah, it's all good. Well, we're going to see the Tristana coming through again. We got to see Larssen pick that up yesterday in their win, so we'll have to see if he's going to have a similar performance here today and help that one out. I like that it's being paired with the Gragas as well, having that AP jungler to work with. But again, when I look at KOI, it feels like you don't have the best of go buttons, heavily reliant on Advienne, probably attached to Malrang to try and get these fights started, but that's probably not the best spot that you want to be in. It's actually going to be Sertuss going for the Akali in the mid lane as well, so definitely wants to try and get this early aggression, but honestly, like, you're kind of happy as Larssen. You should have a ton of control over that mid lane.
Okay, so let's zoom out now. When we look at KOI's composition, you've already mentioned some of the challenges on the initiation, like you're hoping for the barrel or Szygenda plus Yuumi to set something up. Also, you've got the range that you can play around with as Tristana, some AoE. What do SK want to do? Because I can definitely see a lot of side lane threats.
Yeah, I think you're definitely looking at trying to play some sort of 1-3-1. The beauty of having both the Jinx and the Milio is that you pretty much guarantee priority in that mid lane because you're just going to outrange every time comp steps into that lane. Should give you a lot of control then for someone like Markoon to start to lean both towards Irrelevant and Sertuss. I still think, though, in teamfights, you're actually in a relatively good spot as well, especially if Irrelevant can get those flanks. And Irrelevant has kind of been like the Science and Jax are the 2 champions that I always associate with them. So I think that's where I'm going to be seeing if he can try and set up for those. And when you got Markoon who can easily set things up as well, the team fight is still pretty threatening from SK as well.
I mean, when I look at Irrelevant, around 40 odd games at semi-pro level, 5 of them are on Jax, right? That is a significant percentage. He has won 3. I do think Irrelevant will be asked to do a fair amount on this particular matchup, especially into that K'Sante. Let's go, SK, the fans are saying, and be proud, gamers. It is Pride Month here. Well, Pride Month everywhere. So if you do celebrate, please enjoy. Let's jump onto Summoner's Rift for KOI versus SK. little bit more energy behind the SK chant as we load into Rift. Tell you what, it took a bit of time to wind up before drop, Dagda. SK Gaming have only won 1 game this summer and are in a precarious position at the bottom of the table. There's only 4 games left in the regular season today and 3 more next week. The 9th and 10th place teams from our regular season will be eliminated. And if I've hit the right button, there's the standings on your screen. KOI only 1 game ahead of them. So the win here for SK will put them tied at 2 and 4, and it makes our 3rd and final week of the LEC incredibly juicy. While I do have a brief moment before this laning phase starts out, I showed this earlier as well, SK in a similar position to Astralis at 90 championship points. There's 3.6 million possible scenarios. Around 52% of them have SK advancing, but they need to make it to the next stage. If they drop out now, they cannot place in the top 8. They cannot put themselves in that position. Now, there is a tiny, tiny world if they place 9th that they can, but the odds are so incredibly low.
It's also because when you look at their upcoming schedule, right, they face KOI today. They still have Astralis, Mad Lions, and Fnatic still to play as well. It's not the easiest of times for them, and when they're sitting at 1 and 4, every little one is going to make that big difference. So excited to see if SK can make that magic happen. High expectations on the squad coming in from Winter. Like, Exakick and DOS were popping off in that bot lane. It felt like everything was going right for SK. It's just a case of trying to find that again.
Well, right now, Exakick and DOS putting the hurt down onto Comp, trying to anyway. Come away worse for wear. And I just want to give a shout out to the production teams, the guys that work on our HUD. All of those graphics and animations we just played, there's everyone behind the scenes. And that was just a beautiful symphony of animations. What we do see now is a beautiful symphony of being thwacked in the head by a pole, as Irrelevant is pressuring Szygenda for now. And I want to keep my eyes on Markoon, who's got a little bit of invade mission on the cards. That ward was placed just behind the Grump and the blue buff, so Markoon fully aware. Malrang, he's making his way down south to the southern quadrant of the jungle.
Still though, nice ward here from Szygenda. Will spot out the Markoons attempting to go for the play.
Does he finish? Does he finish? No! Instant leap away! Szygenda stays alive for now. Markoon interrupted. I think the shield was procced. 100 HP. First blood to SK. That was beautiful.
Big win for SK as well. I got a little bit nervous when I saw Aftershock was gone, so Markoon couldn't really tank the tower, and even Irrelevant happened to hop back in and out, but nicely done. Easy pickup. Now, will mean you can see the response from Malrang immediately goes into SK's bot side jungle to start stealing away some of these camps. Milio trying to spot him out, but looks like the secret agent operation from Malrang will maybe be a success, that he should be spotted walking out here.
All right, I think DOS did just get a glimpse of him. We saw the ping there a moment ago. Markoon and Irrelevant, that dive was beautiful. And Dagda, I mean, you talked during the draft about how pivotal Irrelevant could be on a champion like Jax to get first, but to come back to lane with Sheen at 4 minutes, that is going to have a significant impact. Now we see how he trades. For the time being, Aphelios, Yuumi, they're stepping forward into the Jinx Milio combination. Small level advantage, and exactly as expected. Larssen up 8 CS already and taken half of that plate before 4 minutes. I think this will continue until either some gank pressure, obviously once Sertuss hits level 6, there's some kill pressure on the other side.
Yeah, and I think, again, getting the solo lanes ahead for SK is going to be your best bet. I wouldn't be surprised to see Markoon move back up here. I think Irrelevant, like, nice job on that level 1. One of the big things that people kind of forget about K'Sante is that a huge amount of his damage is in the passive in the early stages. So is Irrelevant able to start with his E, make it very difficult then for Szygenda to actually get these trades effectively, which is why you come in the level 1. So Irrelevant gets push, they manage to go for the play before Szygenda gets access to the W and can prevent a lot of that CC. So just a really nice timing window to punish the fact that K'Sante has these little breakpoints in the Jax matchup that don't work out.
Of course, the turret aggro as well, very well executed. It does mean plus 9 CS plus kill to the top lane, middle and bottom in slight favor here for Comp and Larssen. Although when you actually look at the numbers, 2 waves of minions, plus 13, plus 10, correction now, as Larssen is ahead of Sertuss. This is a difficult matchup. And remind me, this was opted into by SK, if I recall correctly. Tristana was secured as Comp and Exakick continue to trade.
Yeah, it's not going to be pretty in the early stages. Akali isn't exactly a champion that you go, yeah, we're going to win the early lane, let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and then you're also against Tristana, which is incredibly good at doing exactly that. So I think at the moment it's going to be Sertuss kind of playing off of this for the early stages, letting things kind of get a bit out of control, but looking to see if he can find those skirmishes, specifically with Markoon and Irrelevant, I feel like, at the things like the Rift Herald, to then gain a lot of that gold back.
And of course, for SK, the fact they got the kill on the top lane will mean that, in theory, Irrelevant may be able to apply pressure to relieve some tension for Sertuss. Sertuss just needs time. Obviously, is slightly delayed, but this is what you'd expect. Both of these teams dead even on gold, as Irrelevant is using that kit. Leap, the empowered auto, forcing Szygenda away. Here comes Markoon again. No support. Malrang nowhere to be seen for now. He's going for another counter jungle. And Szygenda will get caught out. Stunned up by the counter strike. The Arctic Assault forward. A flail to the face and one last leap. Another kill to Jax. 2-0 at 6 minutes.
And this is great from SK. It feels like for KOI, Szygenda has been the best performing member of them thus far, and the fact that they're targeting him is going to make KOI uncomfortable. They will respond with the Dragon, and I think we do have to start to kind of shift our attention to opposite sides of the maps for both these teams, because I think SK are doing a great job of getting this Jax ahead, but on the bottom side, Comp is actually doing a really good job here with Advienne to actually win out on these trades, also going for that early cold start. Like, when you go for Jinx with Longsword on the level 1, you want to be able to punish with Milio to get this big damage down, so then you're actually winning out. Cold doesn't give you as much AD or as many stats to actually go for these trades, but the fact that Advienne and Comp have actually been able to turn a lot of those trades around has worked out really well for them. So you can see they're massively far ahead in the cull. They've got a slight gold lead for themselves, including that CS lead, and now they can actually start to go to work, especially when they get towards that the earlier first item. That's where you should see them really start to bully this matchup in the bot lane.
Let's also talk a little bit about Malrang, who has been somewhat, I don't want to say powerful, but just farming consistently, hasn't really made an attempt for a gank. Markoon has shown his presence with 2 successful kills up the top lane. Malrang does have a 12 CS advantage, and I think is nearing level 6. Yeah, I think the next camp or scuttle should just about pick it up.
Yeah.
Markoon's about halfway to level 6 himself. So for Markoon now, going to be a touch behind. I want to see what Malrang does. He's got that 6 now, has a small advantage, and is immediately looking towards that top lane.
Yeah, Szygenda running away. We'll spot out that Markoon's here.
2v2 here. Irrelevant's got the level advantage, pushed backwards. Szygenda retreating to Malrang. The explosive cask still available. The Battle Pig, only level 5, and Sertuss stepped towards the northern quadrant, but didn't in fact move further, because obviously if Sertuss leaves that lane, a plate or 2 will go the way of Larssen. That is just the way it's going to play out. For now, at least, because of that pressure, Malrang has started the Herald. Can SK contest this?
No, it's a good read. Irrelevant ended up using the ultimates, and KOI actually never committed any of their own, so they were like, brilliant, we have push in mid, we've already got control, but looks like SK are going to try. I think they can burst Irrelevant here, though.
Markoon's got 6. Markoon's got 6, so does Malrang. Szygenda goes forward. That's the big belly body slam out. Super Mega, the Death Rocket is firing. Irrelevant is down. Larsen's on the board. That's the first for KOI. The rocket connects, and from downtown, Exakick scores a goal.
It was a nice read from KOI as to what they could do, but execution in the fight was a bit messy. They couldn't quite get the CC. Oh, Exakick flashing away there. Couldn't quite get the CC to actually make it work out where they could burst out Irrelevant before he's able to escape.
And of course, that means SK cannot start this Herald up. Malrang, does he fancy an attempt at a steal? Throws out the barrel. Instantly popped. DOS is pushing him away for now. In actual fact, a 1-for-1 kill, but the Herald going the way of SK. If this is dropped to help out Sertuss, or potentially Exakick, that's actually a big win for SK.
Yeah, and especially if you can try and get, as you say, either Irrelevant or Sertuss ahead, you're going to be in a great spot. The main one is going to be a case of trying to see if you can get side lanes in your favor, though. Again, you're trying to play 4 sides, using Exakick essentially as this wave clear in the mid lane. So if you can now start to get that advantage, it's going to be great. I want to keep my eyes here on as Sertuss is coming in, though, because I think he flashed to give Irrelevant the leap strike out. I'll have to double check off the back of this, but you can see here, you end up with the knock-up, the root comes through, but the push back from Szygenda, which ends up being cancelled by Malrang, and then, it was just after, but yeah, Sertuss getting into position there as he gives the leap strike out, still will go down, and then Szygenda just barely getting caught by Exakick is going to end up helping out that bot lane matchup quite a bit.
Now let's talk a little bit about how these comps will play in the mid-game. Obviously no time's down yet, we're 10 minutes in, it's still touching distance. We know SK want to set up for the 1-3-1. We know that Tristana's going to have some tools available to get away, but both comps are going to want to play this 10 to 20, 12 to 24 minute window differently. What do you want to see from them?
So at least the moment KOI are doing what they need to. Getting dragons, trying to set themselves up so then you actually have to, as SK, fight in a lot of these equations. The opposite side for SK is basically trying to prevent access to the dragons for KOI. You don't even have to take them, just stop KOI from being able to stack them and try and get these side lane turrets down. Oftentimes you're going to be a case of, right, if we can get this bot lane turret down, one, it gives a bunch of gold to Exakick, which can be great if we have to team fight, but two, it also just opens up the map where Irrelevant can start to push in this bot lane and then immediately start to group on mid, putting pressure on towards Comp and Advienne, who don't want to be left alone underneath that turret.
I mean, my head immediately goes to like, KOI don't have a super clear or easy answer to side lane, right? You've got a Fed Jax. Right now, Akali's not a threat, but will become scary. But I feel like if KOI can read the flow or the state of the game and go for the cross maps, in terms of like a tower trade race, I'm going to favor the Aphelios, the Tristana over the Jax Akali almost every time.
The problem is trying to get your waves into positions because Irrelevant is so large. Exakick should have push in mid. The only one that you can really see it against is Sertuss.
Okay.
But I also think SK have a window with Irrelevant with TP. They can try and make some of these plays.
All right, Larssen, W used, caught by the flail. Buster shot fired and the prison was available. Moonlight Vigil on top of the lost chapter. Exakick and Dots are being burned alive. But the warm hugs are doing work, so is that breath of life. And us and Exakick survive. Heal, Ghost used by the bottom laners for SK.
The exhaust, coming in clutch there.
Yes.
The fact that Exakick couldn't really get that damage down, opted in towards the Ghost, so doesn't really have any way to try and turn that one around. So Comp, going to get pressure onto this bottom side. I'm still curious as to what exactly the game plan is here, because you can see Markoon is contesting the potential start of Dragon here by Malrang, has the Rift Herald, and still keep your eyes on Irrelevant. Divine Sunder already completed, like full items completed for both himself and Markoon. So in the opportunity that KOI start this up, this could definitely be a swing here for SK.
In terms of the combat gold, it is relatively the same. Look at those numbers on your screen. Only a 300 difference. There's a total amount of stats applying itemization, excluding consumables. With the fact that SK were pushed away and now the back timers of KOI, SK Gaming are able to punish that and secure their first dragon of the game. This is the second, and we'll see which Rift we're going to be playing on. While all of that is happening, middle lane was able to be pushed out by Sertuss, and mind Larssen, despite being ganked just a moment or two ago, he didn't really use anything. Still got that flash. He'll still be able to escape with that W as the Rift Herald is now dropped. So this will help Sertuss, who's down 1,200 gold for now.
Yeah, I mean, it'll get him some gold back, but I think, again, it's kind of a bit of a mixed bag here as Sertuss isn't really going to be able to do too much, and getting some damage onto that mid lane tower again is going to let you get a huge mempo.
Oh, that is beautiful. Malrang connects with the ulti. Mine manages to find the body slam. Prowling projectile just about falling short. A second or two later, an Exakick may have gone down. But the damage and the pressure means that Comp and Advienne can now look to push the tower if they so choose. Instead, going to play the safe. Well, let's see if they decide to back away.
Yeah, Malrang didn't have quite enough damage left after using his full combo for kill Exakick, but Markoon's in position, so won't actually be able to get anything off this bot lane play apart from drawing Markoon out from his jungle. So at least they'll know Markoon's on bot side, but Jinx should be able to make it back here before the next wave comes down. So nice attempt from Malrang to make something happen, but SK just in position to respond.
So, of course, in terms of the way this game is playing out, 12 minutes coming up, we're pretty even on the board. I think this is playing to expectation. We anticipated a slightly slower game. We anticipated a game where teams are going to be looking for opportunities. I don't think the drafts, exactly, especially with the Jax Akali, is something that I was ready for. But now I want to see how SK maneuver them around, specifically with Sertuss, who is down 1,300 gold. There's a kill for Larssen. He picked up a number of plates. You can see on the top of your screen, 7 plates picked up to 4. And that's what's giving KOI this small advantage for now.
Yeah, it does feel like to me SK are still trying to fight a lot of their identity though. Like if you look at Sertuss, this is his 6th champion in 6 games. Yeah. So he definitely is trying to figure out, like, do we go towards things like, well, the Akali or the Lissandra play for more facilitators, the Azir, do we bring out like assassins? So it feels to me like SK are still trying to see what works for them. And you do have Irrelevant who's very strong on this Jax. And we'll have to see if they're going to be able to try and play for side lanes. At the moment, though, KOI just playing the map better. They've got the push for Larssen bot side. They're able to quickly group onto mid. And you can't really overextend here as Irrelevant because KOI can collapse on.
I mean, Dagda, no towers are down yet. So the map is still very small for both teams, respectively. That might change in a moment or two as those empowered thwacks from Irrelevant chunk out 30% of that HP. I'm looking at the river. KOI did not roam up just yet. At the beginning of the game, we highlighted sort of the stakes here for SK, as they are 1-4 in summer. They can still make season finals event even if they place 9th this Summer Split. I want to quickly talk about KOI while we do have a moment. They've got 120 championship points. They can make it to season finals no matter what position they place. So they've got 71% of the 3.6 million scenarios where they do advance. Obviously, the higher your seed, the more championship points, the deeper you run in groups and playoffs, the better your chances. But KOI just don't look like a contender right now. I think a number of other teams, like I said, Fnatic, Mad Lions, G2, definitely looking scarier. So I want to see the KOI that we've come to know, the KOI that has been pushing for the top of the table, pushing for finals, see whether or not they can step up when the pressure gets the highest.
Yeah, and even now you can see for KOI, they try to make the play on bot side to get Larssen in position, but it's going to be traded here for Irrelevant. And now you get to take the Rift Herald into mid lane to actually crack open the mid lane turret as well. And then it makes it very difficult for KOI to really defend that outer turret on bot side as well. So I think when you look at KOI, it's like, okay, cool, yes, you are trying to make these plays, but it's step 2 and 3 that we're not really thinking through. And this is going to give an opportunity for SK to get themselves set up in this 1-3-1. Even with, we're 2 dragons deep and it's 16 minutes into the game on opposite sides.
They don't have the Paragon points, okay? They're farming up the codexes, they're waiting for those aspects to drop, and until they get the right gear, they're not going to start the... I'm playing a lot of Diablo 4 at the moment. I sincerely hope a bunch of you are as well. But that's what it feels like right now. I'm a level 65 Barbarian, and I'm waiting for the stupid Chieftain aspect to drop. That's exactly what KOI are looking for as well.
I was about to say, what aspect do you think both these sides are there?
Okay, so let's theorize this for a minute. Okay, SK definitely are playing a rogue. There's no doubt about it, right? Like the twin daggers thing. I haven't played it yet, but
Dracos is
Jax, like Akali. I think KOI double ADs. They could be like an ice shard sorcerer maybe. Because nobody's Druid, nobody's Bob, which is the two things we're playing that we know the most about.
I was like, I'm completely out of my depth here.
Exactly.
I know how to slam the ground as a werebear, and that's the extent of it. But,
well, let's see if Sertuss can get out of this one. Yes, he can. The barrel helps him, but at the cost of a tower. Cross maps in play. Look middle, look bottom. I think this is going to be the flavor of the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, look, Larssen's going to be huge. So I think the big thing is try and use Larssen as KOI. Okay, Grant, 2.2k advantage, like, Larssen's a big old boy. The big question is for SK, how do you try and shut that down when it's actually going to be TP's coming in behind them?
Hey, TP's behind. Larssen, the big old boy. He's got the cat in his hat. And nothing's going to come of it. 2,300 gold lead for Larssen's Tristana. 2,500 gold lead for Irrelevant's Jax. And I actually will be surprised if these teams go 5v5 or look for the team fights, because I don't think it's necessarily...
KOI want it,
right?
Like, KOI definitely do. So the biggest problem for SK's game plan is how big Larssen is. So Larssen, if he's in a side lane, will just auto-win against Sertuss. A bit of a mixed bag against Irrelevant, but I think the big one is if you can actually manage to get Larssen into a team fight and keep him safe, you're going to be in a fantastic spot. I mean, you have like Advienne, Malrang, Szygenda, hell, even the jump away from Larssen, you're going to be in a pretty good spot. So for KOI, as long as you can get Larssen to a position where you can fight, you're happy out. But again, your actual moments where you can threaten is not going to be that big.
I love happy out. Comp is going to need to use that cleanse to sidestep. We used that pre-fight view to look at the gold. Even though gold is even as far as the teams are concerned, there's an additional 2,000 gold in itemization for KOI, and that's almost exclusively in Larssen. Mid tower will stand. Markoon needed the ultimate for it. Another teleport committed. This time in the bottom lane by Sertuss. DOS forced a flash for his life and escapes. Flash heal used. Exakick threw down the ghost. SK tried to defend tower middle. They succeed at that. Better lose a number of summoner spells. Tried to teleport bottom. Will not find those kill just yet. There's 2 towers to 3. It's SK with the tower lead. Let's not forget the fact that SK, they have got a terrifying side laner in this Jax. Black Cleaver now secured. And with 20 minutes in, 2 dragons for SK, they have got a very clear road to victory this game.
Sorry, I was distracted because I was just thinking you could have like so many different words for DOS, whereas like if he goes for a cross map, it's DOS cross. If he goes for like, you know, he ends up losing his flash, well, DOS loss.
Are you old enough? Are you old enough to know DOS? Like, did you ever use command prompt in DOS?
No,
I can tell by your eyes.
I know what it is, but no.
I can tell by your eyes glazing over.
No.
I actually.
That's just when you talk, Trevor. That's my general reaction.
The average age of our audience, I don't think half of you even know what DOS is or command prompt. I'm literally seeing seeing like dead eyes here in Berlin. I dropped a couple lines of like command/execute, command/catch. Not a single tweet. Not one of you children know what DOS is. And I'm not going to explain because it's very boring. It's very
sure
one. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Maybe the people who
So
use
DOS
that
lost.
don't use Twitter.
Okay, give me some more DOS words. Is now DOS is in trouble.
DOS,
You
toss?
may need to
No.
toss the fireball away.
When he's happy, he can floss.
I
'Cause he
need
dances.
medic. Hit me on WhatsApp with some DOS puns. I'll read them if you give them to
When
me.
he dies, it's DOS Moss because he's
DOS
gone into the
Moss?
earth. Yeah, there's a ton of these.
There are. Well, we'll have
DOS
to-
Boss, thank you.
That's it. DOS is the boss.
Yeah,
Right, we'll
yeah,
see what
yeah.
happens. Right now, DOS is 0-0-0.
I appreciate the crowd getting involved in this.
So-
We can completely work through this with everyone.
I think somebody said if DOS is doing nothing, one of our producers, and I promise you, a producer just said this, Kevin Bell did. If DOS is doing nothing, he's just playing Moss. I mean, that's harsh.
Or he's lost in the sauce.
That's it. I think we're a bit lost in the sauce right now because neither of these teams have found an opportunity to push deeper into enemy territory. What I was trying to say is, I think SK can win this game. I think SK got the champions to do so. I want to see Sertuss getting more involved. But really, it's going to be up to Relevant. Vision needs to be set up. He's got to push that side lane. So we're going to be in for a drawn-out sort of like cross-map approach, or we're going to go down to Elder, have one big team fight, and whoever pushes their buttons better wins the game.
So here's the thing. I think the big call for SK is like, look, right, we got 2 dragons. Let's forget about the dragons for the moment. So let's actually see how long it takes KOI to get to a position where they actually feel comfortable to go for dragons. Because if you can go and trade, as you say, for the cross map, where it's like, actually stick Irrelevant up into the top side, because I think he can trade relatively effectively against Larssen. Also gives you decent setup as well for the play. You can then immediately try to push in this top side, threaten that inhibitor in the top end, and just make it more and more uncomfortable for KOI to actually try and play off of any of their lanes. Because at any point in time, Irrelevant, if he's left in top side, can end the game by himself. And then you can just start to swap that around the map and just make it very difficult across for KOI.
Yeah.
If you're KOI, though, your best way to try and close that out is actually basically do what you're doing at the moment. Get Larssen to shove out top wave really consistently, immediately rotate him into mid, so then SK can't really threaten mid wave anymore. And then it becomes a case of basically this stalemate where KOI can just stall the game until they can get into a decent position. But if SK are smart, they'll start to get aware of this and actually look to pick off Larssen in transition.
That's what they're trying to do. Larssen right now, the big, beefy member of KOI. What you call him? A big boy? A big boy earlier. I think KOI are waiting for the next breed or next year or school of Shoutcast to come up. Do you remember VoD yesterday? Was it you and Medi yesterday talking about KOI and how old they are? They go to 200 years. Can't remember what it was.
Oh, no, it wasn't.
It was the day before. It was Saturday then. But yeah, KOI fish can live to 200 years old. I think they're waiting for 200 years. They've got Aphelios on their side. That's when they're looking to scale. They're, again, farming up those codexes, farming up those items. And right now, they're going to finally take down this mid turret. 5 seconds to Dragon. Oka jump to safety. Here comes Irrelevant. Glacial Fissure down. The chapter is going to find the root, and nobody's dead yet. Irrelevant flash available to him. Counter-Strike is up. Sertuss uses the belt fort, and Irrelevant forced to run for his life. With the Blind Fears used, Larssen's got his first kill of the fight. It's a trade back. Sertuss on the board. Szygenda gets another. Larssen, rocket jumps out once more. Prowling projectile tags the battle ball. Larssen level 15, by the way. The tower was secured, the fight was won, and now the Dragon can be the next target.
Yeah, Larssen is the boss, the capstone dungeon, and both Sertuss and Relevant just ran headfirst into him and it didn't work out too well. Immediately shot down.
Yeah, and listen, in this replay, look for the DOS gloss. This is when you try to paint a support play in a really positive light. Thank you, Medic.
Well, it doesn't work out too hot here. Relevant goes in, tries to get the setup, but Malrang, great knockback here. As well as Comp actually managing to disengage there for himself to get into a position where he's all right. And at this stage, I think you just back away as SK. You're already losing a ton of HP. Again, Irrelevant tries to set himself up, but doesn't actually get access to Comp on the back line. Sertuss goes way too deep, and even look at where Exakick is positioned right now. He's not really getting any damage off, whereas Comp is having a field day with the fact that he's got that Infernum to do a double bunch of damage.
And if you look at the minimap, the top lane in minions are being pushed towards that inner turret. Teleport was available for Szygenda. In my head, stepping into KOI in a 5v5 where they can peel backwards with Gragas, with K'Sante, with Yuumi, that's what KOI wants. My head was screaming, just back away, give them their second dragon, use that TP top lane, take the inner turret. I think SK saw blood in the water and they went for it. I also don't think I'm smart enough to be critical enough, but it feels to me like I think SK could have done a map play that time around and conceded the Dragon. It's only 2 apiece, so you're not playing for Soul just yet.
Yeah, I think that's... Ooh, Markoon forced to flash away as Malrang wants to try and get more Comp even position here. But again, you've now given a ton to Comp. Gale Force here as well. He's got the right guns. If you can close that distance, Exakick and DOS are certainly going to feel it. But again, as you say, not playing to your strengths. Play for mid-prio with this Jinx. Play for side lane control with Irrelevant. But Irrelevant is starting to fall off now. He doesn't have that same control. He might get caught out here as well.
Has been for now. Leaps over to their control ward. That's Larssen going in. Buster shot backwards, and Malrang gets the kill. Lost chapter thrown out, won't find the route just yet. That's the Gale Force forward. Comp aggressively chasing. Now he's being run down by Sertuss and perfectly executed. SK Gaming have found themselves at least one, but they've lost DOS the boss. Killed inside the Moss. 3 members of SK down, 2 members of KOI taken out.
And there's the Hobbit and the Cat to see what they can try and do against the rest of SK, but you've already picked off Malrang. You picked off Comp in the meantime as well, so it is going to be a 2-for-3 trade in favor of KOI as they now start to move in here as well.
All right, listen, 2,000 gold lead just about for KOI. Markoon trying to slow Larssen down. 3-0-2, 3 items completed. And won't be able to take that tower, and it's a fight on multiple fronts here.
And I'm really surprised to see Irrelevant here at all, to be honest. Like, you have 0 control over mid, 0 wards, so just bad pathing here from Irrelevant. Sets up beautifully, and now it turns into the 4v4. I like this from Comp, where he flashes and Gale Forces in to try and get the lockdown into Exakick. Immediately, our ultimate comes out from the Milio to make sure that he can actually keep that safe. And then Sertuss has gone way too deep to try and make this play work. Ends up getting chased down by Larssen. On the opposite side, though, you can see the Jinx does end up getting a kill on towards the Gragas as well. But the entire time, Szygenda was just bot side. So you can see 0 for Szygenda because he wasn't in the fight. 0 for Markoon and Irrelevant is a bit rougher.
I mean, Irrelevant was killed before the fight began, to be fair, right? And was just bounced around. But I think that big boy, the big lad, Larssen, 3-0-2, 290 CS to 216. Malrang had a relatively slow start to the game, considering Markoon got multiple ganks top, but frankly, they didn't mind. They didn't care at all. And if you look at the levels here, 14 to 15, Irrelevant with a small advantage. I think Sertuss finding that kill is kind of a good sign, but it's going to be hard here for the SK fans.
Yeah, the other sign is the one that's pointing immediately at Larssen with the 3,000 gold.
Yep.
So, I mean, there are multiple signs here that can be interpreted in different ways.
Let's look at the minimap. Dagda, a minute 20 until Dragon's up. It's only the 3rd of the game, but I think both teams have shown that they're willing to fight for it. Baron is obviously being warded right now, so if you look at the state of the lanes, how do you want to see, let's say SK maybe set for this one because they committed to that 5v5 last time and they got punished.
Yeah, but as you say, both teams are willing to fight for it, but that doesn't mean you should fight for it. You look at where the wave is positioned right now, Sertuss to just push that out. I would much prefer if instead Sertuss starts to move up towards this top side. You can even see the pings going down on that top end as well. That's where you should be focusing here as SK. Get those towers down and then continue to just keep up this tempo advantage where you're keeping KOI locked into their own base. But KOI doing a good job here where they're saying you show top will immediately take your tier 2 here because we've got control over mid. And Exakick isn't in a position anymore to fight this because KOI have just had control over the map for so long.
Okay, SK Gaming. They want to give themselves an attempt with the DOS Hoss boss. Don't give me that Baron. Don't give me that Dragon. Let's find out if they can. Do you know the band, the Boss Hoss? Do we have any Berliners or Germans here that know the Boss Hoss? They're a Berlin-based band. Yes, there we go. I love you guys. They're one of my favorite bands. And I've got the lyrics to Don't Give Me That stuck in my head. It's just playing there. Let's find out who's going to pick this up. Irrelevant's pushing the bottom lane. I like seeing this. Irrelevant level 16. He's got the TP up. Stopwatch available, as well as Hourglass for Malrang and Szygenda respectively. Baron is a threat. Dragon is a threat. Oh, Dagda. We are building up to a big engagement here.
Pump is just reset. I don't know if they actually spotted that, which is why I think SK are trying to bait KOI into this, especially if they can get the TP out from Szygenda or even catch someone out in transition. Malrang isn't the tankiest now, as you can see with that Night Harvester and the Zonyas, so there's a lot of people that can very quickly pick him off, but looks like as people start to show him mid again, Irrelevant's just going to ignore Szygenda's damage.
This is what I wanted to see from SK Gaming. The side lane pressure. Level 16, Irrelevant thinks Szygenda's irrelevant. Szygenda on Cassante can do nothing to stop him. And the inhibitor is just easily secured.
Hole breaker there for Irrelevant makes it nigh on impossible for Szygenda to do anything against this split push on the Jax. And again, now you just get to continue to keep this pressure up. You will get the resets coming through from SK. And with no real priority here for KOI apart from in this mid lane, I don't really think they can punish this too much. Sertuss is going to clear out that wave as well. So, good job from SK. Pressure on the bot side. They constantly threaten the Baron, so KOI are caught between two directions, and no one can reset to actually try and help out in the bot lane.
That is exactly what I was hoping to see from this composition. When you see it ended up being was sort of a 1-4 more than a 1-3-1. I think the fact that Sertuss has been bullied and pushed back a lot. You know, take the lanes, take control. Don't take the Baron. Now SK don't want KOI to take the Soul. Let's find out if they can set up for the fight, because in a 5v5, I still favor KOI. It is dead even on gold, and combat stats are leaning in favor of KOI.
But that's why SK shouldn't be here. You should have Irrelevant topside. This is third dragon, you don't really care. Markoon's going!
Oh, that's the engage coming up, and look at the damage and reply. Sertuss buys some time, goes golden. Malrang is doing the same. The shot from Larssen secures the first of the fight. Sertuss drops in reply, 1-4-1. Keep following Exakick, who's got the flash available to him. Irrelevant's knocked back, can't find the counter-strike in the Moonlight Vigil. Managing to burn through the HP. Szygenda takes an empowered strike to the face. Comp and Larssen still alive. Still got the damage. Follow Irrelevant, flash available. Got the counter-strike, looking for the stun. Szygenda interrupts it, Markoon goes forward at the Arctic Assault, and SK Gaming are so far in control. Larssen running for his life, and Szygenda will be run down. That fisherman's catching himself dinner tonight.
SK, they played it calm, they played it patient, they waited for the cozy campfire to be back, and now they are snugly in the lead here with the fact that they're going to get this next dragon as well, and you can even get that push in mid.
Production, if you do have a camera for us, come here. They're snugly in the lead because of the warm hugs of DOS's Milio. They've managed to get themselves... Yeah, do it again. The warm hugs of DOS's Milio. That's SK. Third dragon secured, turning their attention to Barrett, and I will say that I am happy to see SK playing the side lane, and I'm happy to see them dancing their way through the team fights. However, they can still be punished. Remember, it's Aphelios Tristana in the late game with 4 and 5 items coming up.
Yeah, you can see here they struggled to get onto comp initially. Like Markoon and Sertuss diving into the back line. Malrang, with that chomper, it has to go golden. So it's a 1-for-1 trade at the start of this. Look at the campfire though. Campfire has now been used up, right? So as we start to play into this, it's wait again until this next campfire comes up, because it's about a 14-second cooldown at this stage. So then they're actually waiting for that before they make the next play. Now they're just going to try and burst this down. TP coming through from Larssen. Irrelevant is not really in position.
This is going to go low. This is gone. Baron secured. I don't think KOI can get there in time, but can SK get out with their lives? Yes, easy, simple. And you mentioned Irrelevant in his position. His positioning in that team fight before the dragon was incredibly relevant. You need to change your nickname, bruh, because you are so impactful this game.
Yeah, the fact that he's, one, got control over this bot side, two, been able to play these fights really well. Even with Larssen trying his best to keep him at bay with things like that ultimate, but still, Irrelevant now. Baron up, control over bot side, and as well now with Sertuss being able to offer the Baron up creeps to the top side as well. This is going to make things significantly easier. You can see KOI, they're trying to make a play though. Before these waves get into position, they want to try and make something happen on this bot side, see if they can pick off Irrelevant, but might go the other direction.
Wow, just the threat of the Counter-Strike forces out Malrang's ultimate. The way Irrelevant and Sertuss played that previous fight is exactly how rogues play it in the PvP zones in Diablo. Literally twisting blades, dodging in and out of fog of war, invisibility. That's what they needed. Sertuss, he's down 5,000 gold. He's been flame horizoned, right? 373, 255. As long as he can distract the backline, because he's still got enough burst to maybe 70, 80, 90% loss in a comp. That's all he needs to do. Let the rest of the squad then finish it out. I mean, look at this. Larssen, you just got dunked.
Sorcerer's barriers down and immediately the assassin strikes. SK now, they got in position. Going to be able to use Exakick here. The stupid thing about Milio here with the Jinx is that you can throw down this cozy campfire and you actually outrange turrets. So you're just going to become a second cannon minion here in a second, and Exakick should be able to take that one down. Irrelevant's got position on bot. Sertuss up against Comp is not where Comp wants to be.
think there's some British people in the audience because that sounded like a Premier League football chant. Nevertheless, they're screaming they love SK. Inhibitor in the mid lane was secured. The Nexus turret is falling. SK have only won one game all summer, and they might be picking up their second. It's a 5v4 for 20 seconds. The next inhibitor turret is falling. This stupid Campfire Jinx combo is brought to you by Dagda. Will be used to its full advantage. Nexus turret number 2 is falling. Irrelevant to Markoon started this game off on the top side, and Irrelevant to Markoon will finish it by taking down KOI.
No loss for DOS in this. Instead, it's going to be SK who are able to take the victory. Brilliant stuff from Irrelevant, controlling those side lanes, getting that early lead thanks to the help from Markoon. And from there, being able to just about claw this game back into a position where they could win it.
Listen, it was not the prettiest of games. However, you have to respect and credit the early ganks from Markoon Irrelevant and those last 2 team fights. The 30-odd minutes in the middle, heck, go man, debate that however you want. But the beginning and the end, SK did incredibly well.
Yeah, I mean, look, it took them a little bit of time to get themselves into position that they could, but again, the Jacks, absolutely fantastic. Playing around this Jinx and the Cozy Campfire as they got in towards those later team fights was brilliant as well. You could see how patient they were waiting for these cooldowns, specifically from the Milio. And again, it feels like that trend that we've seen kind of globally start to pick up is still continuing here in the LEC. Milio outperforming the Yuumi when it comes to a lot of these because you can take things like the Jinx, and it's going to look fantastic.
Yeah, it really was. I still think Irrelevant needs to change his name. As SK Gaming passed through the caster desk, we're all getting the high fives. Yeah, well played, gentlemen. The boss, DOS himself, I think is being prepped for the interview. You see him standing right out with our stage crew. Everybody watching at home, your player of the game nominees at LEC on Twitter: Irrelevant, Markoon, and Exakick. I think it has to be between Irrelevant and Markoon in my head in terms of how they played the game, how they utilized it. I think more importantly, just that push at level 16 or so to get that bottom inhibitor. That is exactly what SK needs to just completely, take control of the map.
Yeah, I mean, it broke the tower, but it also broke open the game.
Yes.
Again, just the fact that you create this pressure on the bottom side makes it impossible then for KOI to really be able to contest things like the Dragon as much as they would like to. And the fact that you could literally have Irrelevant just walk into the base anytime and completely end the game just put too much pressure onto KOI. So really nicely done, and it means that now SK are going to find themselves 2 and 4.
I've got one more really dumb joke for you.
I'm
really
ready.
dumb.
I'm ready.
We should have known that this game was going to be won by SK from the beginning. They ran Jax into a fish team. So anyways, we're going to head on stage where DOS is standing by with Trouble. Thank you, producers.
Thank you very much, Quickshot. DOS, congratulations. Looked difficult on our side. Can you give me your insights on how this game went?
I mean, to be fair, we are a bit nervous closing our games at this point because we lost so much. I think it's just natural. There's a lot of nerves in the game where we feel especially after yesterday, where we felt that the game was in our hand and we just somehow messed it up. And I think for sure you can tell that in game we are not too confident on how we should close out the game, but at least at this point we're talking to each other, giving ideas and just trying stuff. I don't think we played too clean at the moment, but at least we are giving it all right.
I mean, a win is a win, and that's what's very important. You guys are one step closer to getting onto that lock-in. Few more wins. You're currently tied with KOI, Astralis, and BDS at 2 and 4. Vitality right underneath. A sign of relief, I guess, for you. You posted on social media as well that it's basically one win at a time. How is the team atmosphere behind the scenes?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think the team atmosphere is as it has been. But it's we are together 24/7, and we obviously have different ideas of how to play the game. And if you somehow end up not winning too much, then people with different ideas become stronger about their ideas. They really want to force it their way, and I think we struggle a bit with that at the moment, because obviously we all want to win, and if we have a idea of how we want to play, then it's really clear in our own head, and then we want to force that on the others because we are thinking, okay, my way is the way of doing it. But we have to always find some kind of compromise, and it's not we incapable of doing that. We're also doing that. But I think just us having like a few wins on the board. Like now we won 2 games. It's gonna help like the team atmosphere a lot, and probably it's gonna help like compromising on a lot of things, and that's gonna help us like in the future games as well.
Absolutely, and it's not like you haven't done it before. Your winter split was a fantastic showcasing of what you guys can do, especially in the bot lane with Exakick. Now, Dos, of course, I wasn't able to grab you the last 2 days, even though I wanted to, and your parents were here. But is there something that you would like to tell them?
I mean, I actually want to thank my parents a lot because they have been supporting me like since the start of my career, and I still remember the day where I told them I wanted to quit school to play League, and they were always supportive of me. Oh, sorry. And I'm really sad that I couldn't win when they were here. Oh my God. I'm really sad that I couldn't win when they were here. Like, there have been a few times watching my games, and I always like ended up losing somehow, like especially yesterday, I should have won. And I just really want to make them proud, and I'm so happy that they're watching every game.
Well, Dos, you won today. I'm sure that this victory does go out to them as well because they've watched your performance. Congratulations. One step at a time it is for SK. Thank you very much for the interview, Dos. Really appreciate that. We're going to go into a very quick break, but when we're back, it's Fnatic versus Vitality. Stay tuned.
Super Mega, the Death Rocket is firing. Irrelevant is down. Larssen's on the board. That's the first for KOI. The rocket connects, and from downtown, Exakick scores a goal.
I still have exhaust for Jax.
Jax no ulti. Look at Jax. Look at Jax. Look at Akali.
I'm dead.
Look at Akali. Look at Akali.
Corp aggressively chasing. Now he's been run down by Sertuss. That's his turn number 2. Is falling. Irrelevant to Markoon.